glad to see that the Ghana Police Service is ensuring that it becomes an incident-free. I've also noted the Small Arms Commission
yes.
clearly also stating that it's going to be an election where there's not going to be any sight of any small arm or cutlass or any material that can be used to cause harm. But it's important.
Just to chip in, some persons have been arrested, some weapons or some guns retrieved by the police service.
Yeah, but it's important as well to state that at the back of Abluma North, there were a lot of brutalities.
Yeah, indeed.
We haven't seen what has come out of it, and that's a huge concern.
Some arrests have been made.
Yes, I'm aware of that, but some people were brutally manhandled. Some public citizens, public servants, former ministers, former MPs were mishandled, and it's important that we ask them to follow through if there are investigations that are ongoing. We do not want to have a by-election of any sort where people have to die. I shudder to think that we have always spoken about the peace and serenity of the country, but yet still when we go for election, however small or minute it is, you would find that people will get hurt.
Yeah.
You would find that people will lose their lives. You will find that there are either pockets of violence here and there. I think that Ghana holds it as an opportunity to ensure that the Akwatia by-election becomes peaceful, becomes free, becomes fair, becomes transparent. All political actors should ensure that the results is a true reflection of what the people want. And I think that as we have done for Tamale Central, we have stated that we want to cede it to the NDC. And even with that, they have about 14 people that are contesting. You know, I would hope and wish that the NDC doesn't come to contest this Akwatia by-election. I hope they listen, but I'm not sure they would.
It's probably too late now.
It's probably too late.
I'm sure the EC has already begun printing
yes,
the ballot
absolutely.
papers.
But I mean, I think that we should retain that seat for the New Patriotic Party in memory of Ernest Kumi. He didn't serve for a very long time. It's just about 6-7 months in Parliament, and so that he can.
And
be
his
able
term
to,
was actually fraught with a lot of challenges. He was being contested in court over his victory and all.
Absolutely, from the 2024 general election. And you recall that it was just about 3 weeks when the Supreme Court had clearly stated that he had won the election on merit, that unfortunately he lost his life. I recall the weekend to his demise on the Monday, like a Monday like this, he had gone for funerals in the Western region. And Ernest and I went to the Saddle College together.
Oh, okay.
So I know him pretty well, and during the primaries as well, we all engage in making sure that we support him to become the MP in the constituency. It's sad, and we wish that politicians and MPs take care of themselves, take care of their health, and then ensure that there's continual peace and serenity in by-elections. We don't want to record any incident in this by-election, but I pray and hope that it remains blue.
Let's look at the individuals involved. Initially, we had picked up about 4 persons who had elected to contest, an independent, a representative of the LPG, and then that of the NDC and the NPP. The independent, we understand, was disqualified. The LPG, we are also told, has withdrawn. And so basically it's the NDC and the NPP leading as the front runners in this contest. The candidate of the NDC represented Henry Boakye Yadom, a former MP, whom they believed had won the 2024 elections. This current candidate, that's the Bernard Bediakon, the counsel for Boakye Yadom, in that contest in court, beat Boakye Yadom in the primaries and is now the candidate of the NDC for the Akwatia by-elections. There are those who argue that this smacks of betrayal and is likely to affect them in the by-election. What are your thoughts on this briefly before we look at the NPP's candidates?
You know, I always hold on to the view of President Atamils Dufiasem. It is important that I have issues in my own home where I need to focus on. But I mean, I think that to throw in the conversation of loyalty and disloyalty in this conversation is a bit too overboard. I think that people have a right to want to represent their constituents. People have a right to want to advance in their own political career and journey, and so I do not want to smack in loyalty or disloyalty on any person's candidature. Once the new National Democratic Congress believes that he's the person to represent them, I think that is good to go. I thought really for my political party that Amase's constituency.
Right.
So I was picturing that she would have been the most likely candidate that would come out of our camp, but it appears that it didn't happen. This gentleman is known on grounds as well. I'm told that he's a grassroots young person, which also embodies the new patriotic party rank and file.
It's actually the treasurer of the party in the constituency.
Absolutely, which embodies the new patriotic party, that regardless of where you are, regardless of what you find yourself doing, you would always have an opportunity. And I think that this is a very big leap for him to represent his constituency in the legislative arm of government should he win the election, and that would be a lot of big foot that he'll be stepping in, and I'm sure that a lot of people's attention would be in that particular constituency to ensure that because that's an opposition constituency basically, because the NDC is in power, to ensure that he's able to bring in social amenities that the constituency need, because there's supposed to be a lot more development that Ernest Kumi would have thought that he could do, but untimely he's dead. So if he wins the election, I'm sure that the constituency would want to see a lot more development, and his vision that he has for the constituency, he should be able to bring that to bear. And I want to be able to see a good margin in the election. Either he should win the election and have a very good margin in terms of what the NDC would bring, and purportedly to be able to also win the next primaries in the constituency to win the 2028 general election, because all of that is in view of what is happening. We've had by-elections in this country in various constituencies because we've either had MPs who are either resigning or being late, and we've had by-elections, and every now and then
some crossing carpet as well.
Exactly, people crossing carpet and all of that. So we want to see that the Akwatia seat remains blue, and I'm very confident that our candidate can be able to do that for us.
Well, we'll go into the dynamics at play this time around, but let's look at even prior to that. The NDC held primaries and elected a candidate. The NPP did not. Yours was an endorsement, if I can put it that way. But with talk of Amase, her level of popularity, having won the seat before, would it have been better to have opened it up, gone into a primaries to pick a candidate?
Well, we are not in normal times. Basically, I think that as a political party, we have a lot of things that are happening in our party. We are going into a major flag bearership election in the next 4 months. We have just gone through our resolutions and working on a new constitution for the party. There are conversations about very minimal resources in terms of money in the party. Going for primaries also involves a lot of money from the party and also from the individuals. I think that the party executives, together with the National Executive Council, made a decision to just give an endorsement. And I think in some instances and events where you find yourself as a political party where you are not in normal times, I mean, you have a lot of things that are at stake for you as a political party, and you need to keep your eyes on the ball, on the bigger picture. I think that these are some of the decisions that you make. And so I'll support the party's decision to go into it, because if you want to do a primaries, then you need to open polls, you need to do vetting, you need to allow people to campaign, and then you need to now do the main election. And all of that is resources and a burden on the little money that we have in our political party. And so I think that it's good to go for just a major endorsement. And I think that both candidates who might have been prospective, might have been consulted, that it's important we take the best candidate to be able to win for us.
A number of dynamics will be at play in this particular election. If you take the history of Akwatia itself, it is well known for single-term MPs. It goes blue, then it comes green. Goes back to blue, then comes green. We have the likes of Baba Jamal, the Amasis, the Bwachi Yadoms, Ernest Kumi himself, and now it's open for a contest. How do you foresee all of this playing out? Mind you, both parties are presenting new faces. They are new to the scene, but the battles remain old. Your take on this?
So it's already a constituency that is blue. It's been blue since the Supreme Court stated that it's been blue. It's been blue since we won the 2024 election for the parliamentary in that constituency. And so had it not been for the demise of Ernest Kumi, it would be a blue seat for the next 4 years until we go into another election. I think that I know that a lot of constituencies are always turning blue and green, similar to Adenta constituency and a number of dotted constituencies around the country. And so I would hope and pray that this election will remain blue, because the blue hasn't finished 7. I think that it would be in the honor of Ernest Kumi to see that the constituency remain blue. And I think that is also bewills on the entire constituency to ensure that it remains blue and does not turn back to green as it's been in other instances. And I am very confident that by the time we are back in the next week, because the election is on Tuesday next week, by the time we are back in the next week or two, we should be seeing that the candidate-elect is being sworn in by the Speaker of Parliament in the 9th Parliament.
Right. You mentioned earlier that Ernest Kumi obviously was an opposition MP. If the NPP should win, it will still remain an opposition MP. Solomon Asumadu will be an opposition MP. But that is also one of the dynamics that election watchers have raised. That's, I mean, it's an MP with its party in power as against an opposition MP. Which one would constituents prefer? Do you see this playing out in any way? And let's marry this to the fact that Ernest Kumi, being the late MP who was sitting, belonged to the NPP, and so some level of sympathy votes might also play out in the election.
Yeah, I think that circumstances surrounding people's demise always raise some sympathy votes. We've seen that reoccurring every now and then. I would use my constituency as an example. The Akwatia North constituency in 2016, February, when J.B. Dankwa Edu died, we went into an election and Gifty Chumampofu won that election. He gave us some sympathy votes. In that year was also an election year, so she stood as well in 2016. That also gave us some sympathy votes and she won the election. Same, we can use, even take it up to the very higher level at the presidency when John Dramani Mahama had to stand for election in 2012, having been sworn in as president in July of 2012 at the demise of John Evans Tamale. So clearly you see that as a Ghanaian people, we are very remorseful people, we are very mournful people, we respect the dead and honor the dead, and we feel that often now and then we need to be able to give reference and some honor to the people that are dead, which is why the New Patriotic Party has withdrawn for the Tamale Central election. It's because we want to be able to continue to give honor and respect to Murtala Mohammed and to his family, and to continue to state that the NDC should represent and put a person there. I mean, we've always known that Tamale Central has been a green side, and so sometimes in wisdom, beyond the fact that you want to be able to set off that political authority to the NDC, it would have been good to also test the waters to see what your chances are. But I mean, we said that we want to be able to respect Murtala Mohammed, we want to be able to ensure that his legacy continues. Besides, he's been MP for a very long time in that particular constituency, which is why
from Nantong to Tamale Central.
Absolutely, which is why I think that it is important that Akwatia continues to remain blue, and maybe if there are any changes at all, if it should be in foreseeable elections in the future, but not this very election.
We've seen a number of party bigwigs, and I'm talking about the NDC descend on Akwatia to campaign for their candidate. It doesn't appear so much so for the NPP. Even yesterday, the Chief of Staff, Julius Debra, was in Akwatia, met with the Achim Wenchi Mahine and all. I mean, you can see the deliberate campaigning that the NDC is doing. It does not appear same with the NPP. Could it be complacency?
No, I don't think so. You know, the NDC is a government in power. They have money. They have money. They have government resources. You know, their party is in power. But I think that we have multiple events that are going on in our political party. NPP US is celebrating their 33rd anniversary, so their party functionaries that are traveling across Accra to New York, and they'll be returning sometime this week. We have flag bearer hostefuls that are also doing their campaigning around, which you must recall as well. There are
but the party acts that all activities be put on hold.
Of course,
concentrate on Akwatia.
Of course, all activities are on hold, but people are also endorsing their forms, and people are preparing to submit their presidential forms to the party. So a lot of multiple things are happening, and campaign is not over. I mean, we still have a leap of an extra 1 week to do campaigning. I'm very confident that in the coming week, you see a lot of party faithfuls. You see the Honorable Kennedy Japan going into Akwatia to show his support and campaign. You see a number of party senior persons going to make sure that we win that election.
I'm not so convinced, but because you see, even Abluma North, that the party held a press conference and told the whole world that it will not participate in that contest. We saw big weights of the party in Abluma North campaigning for the candidates. We're not seeing same in Akwatia.
You see, Nana, you're overstretching the issue, and I don't want us.
You think so?
I think you're overstretching the issue.
So?
I don't want us to overstretch the issue. So, Abluma North was an extremely different case, and let's put it in context. Abluma North has always been blue. My good senior sister fought the election very hard from the 2024 December election. Went to court all throughout. She was the candidate even when the party said they were not going to contest. It took Kennedy Japan to convince the party to rescind on its decision. And
that's what happened.
And yes, and asked everyone to go to Abluma North to campaign, because this woman had been on the campaign trail all throughout. That was when we saw that people were going in, and even on the day of election, the Honorable Kennedy Japan was on the grounds to make sure that there's peace and serenity going along in Abluma North. And Abluma North is a place where the sitting MP was fighting for her seat. Akwatia is a very different case, and like I'm saying, there are multiple party events that are ongoing. I am aware that this week, right up from today throughout the weekend, there's going to be a lot of party functionaries that are going to be there. And if you look at elections, election campaigning are more important in the final week. Yes, election campaigning are more important in the final week. Election campaigning are also more important on the D-Day, because it's on the D-Day that you're going to gather people and you're going to tell them to go out and vote. And this is a bigger constituency election.
Does the law not stop you from campaigning on the D-Day?
No, the law stops you from campaigning, but on the D-Day, you are making sure that people are, you know how it is. I mean, you know how it is. You are going around.
The underground campaign.
Yes, the underground campaigning. You are making sure that, because you don't want a turnout that is too low. You're making sure that people are going and people are going to vote, and you are counting your numbers and making sure that there are no disenfranchisements, and you're making sure your polling station agents are there. You're making sure that they have food. You're making sure they have the needed resources that they need. And I think that those things are important. Let's not overstretch the issue. The party faithfuls, the big wigs are going to be on grounds to make sure that they do campaigning. Over the weekend, I saw a few people who were in the constituency doing campaigning. They might not be the big names, but they are all there making sure that we win the seat.
Very well. One of the issues that will come up, and it might play out or might not, will have to do with apathy. Usually by-elections will not record the same numbers as you see in a general election, because the usual enthusiasm might not be there. Now, Akwatia, in perspective, owing to its history of violence in by-elections, is one factor. September 2 itself being a working day is another factor. And then the presence of police, or if you like, security in Akwatia, the deployment of the large numbers. Some of the residents that I spoke to over the weekend were worried. They felt intimidated. I mean, how do you put in all this in a box? Is it possible that this will affect voter turnout?
Now, let me use your platform to appeal to the people of Akwatia, if they are listening to us this morning, is that the presence of the security, the presence of electoral commission is to ensure that the election is free, is peaceful, is incident-free, because of the history and antecedents that have always happened in Akwatia. And so no one should be afraid to come out to vote. I think that is important, that you come out and vote for the new Patriotic Party candidate. Don't be intimidated at all by the high presence of security. It's for your peace and for your safety. And when you finish voting, you can go back to your work and go and do your work. And yes, it's a working day, but the voting will start at maybe 7 o'clock or even 8 o'clock, and it would transcend to about 5 o'clock. If you're in the queue before 5 o'clock, you have an opportunity to vote. And I don't think that anyone should be afraid at all. And we would also entreat the ruling government to ensure that they don't bring in some high levels of intimidation. We are only going to elect someone to represent us in Parliament.
Very well. Still on the matter of Akwatia and, of course, the by-election on September 2, you're confident that the NPP will come out tops after the exercise? You have the absolute confidence that you're winning Akwatia. Akwatia will remain blue.
I can't be otherwise. I mean, it has to remain blue. I am very confident, and as I'm confident, I'm also appealing really to the constituents, because this is not just an NPP election. This is an entire constituent of thousands of people. I'm appealing to them to look at the works that Ernest Kumi had done in his few months in Parliament, look at how hard he had fought to retain the seat from going to court and serving in Parliament, being granted injunction, and all of those other things that he went through. I recall his swearing in when they didn't want to swear him as a member of Parliament, and the leader of the House at the time, Leader Markin, stated that, I mean, let's swear him in and he will bear the consequences thereof. And I mean, he's a young man. He wants to serve his country. He wants to make laws for his country. I think that it will be good for you to reward him in his death peacefully, to ensure that it remains blue. It would be a true testament, really, for me, that the verdict that came out of the court is a true representation of the votes that were cast in the December 2024 general election. And I would want to congratulate in advance our candidate, and not to say that we are not going to win, but we're going to win massively. And I think that we should be able to send this strong message out to the constituents that please come out in your numbers, vote massively for the candidate of the New Patriotic Party, and let's ensure that we remain blue in that constituency.
Very well. So the battle lines are drawn. It's NPP versus NDC. Solomon Kwame Sumedu for the NPP, Bernard Bediakun for the NDC. They'll go against each other on September 2. Lenses will be there. We'll bring you coverage of the entire election right here on ChannelOne TV, as well as on 97.3 CTFM. Now, Doc, let's take a quick flight to Tamale and make a stop at Tamale Central. You, the NPP, have decided to opt out. You say it's out of respect for the late Dr. Ibrahim Murtala Mohammed, who lost his life, unfortunately, in that tragic helicopter crash. The NDC has gone ahead to open nominations. It is closing the nominations, I think, actually today. Initially, we had had some 14 persons had picked nomination forms. We understand 2 have rescinded that decision. And so we're looking at 12 aspirants who most likely will submit the forms upon completion and will go into the primaries. But there are those who argue that you only opted out because you know Tamale Central will be green, will remain green, and also you do not have the resources to even go and test your level of popularity there. Your take on this?
You know, Nana, we have just come out of an election in December. Okay?
Yeah.
And that election showed us very clearly our strength in Tamale Central. Okay? So, yes, we don't have resources. We have an election ahead of us. We have a flag bearership election that the party is preparing and raising funds for. We respect Murtala Mohammed. We want to honor his death and ask for the NDC to present their own team. Imagine, look at that. They have 14 people. It tells you how heated the constituency is. You know, it tells you how heated the constituency is. And now 2 have decided that they will not go. That's a large number of people.
That isn't a testament to the good works of the president, because he has the party in power. And so everybody will want to be part of that development.
14 people. That's too much. 14 people. Wow.
We've gone into a primaries with 17 people before.
No, that's a presidential level.
So
but this is a constituency. 14 people want to go and stand for an election.
That's like democracy. That's the beauty of democracy.
Of course, that's the beauty of democracy. Well, they'll have a primaries. They will decide who the best candidate is, and then they will have an election, which will be clearly a referendum for them, because the NPP is not contesting. So whoever wins the primaries is almost the president, the MP, basically. And I mean, I think that our reasons are very clear. It's been made very public for people to know. I was excited to see that the party leadership went to the NDC headquarters, and that's clearly what we want to be seeing in terms of our party commandery between both heated political parties, because we are both the biggest political parties in this Fourth Republic. And to say that we are not contesting, for us, it's a lot of respect for the NDC. They are in a very difficult time. They have lost 8 people. All of us as a country have been mourning. They have lost very vibrant brains that are needed in Parliament. Murtala Mohammed was such an excellent gentleman, started student politics all throughout from ASU days, and becoming an MP, and an MP again, minister, deputy minister, minister. He had such a very bright future ahead of him. And I'm very certain that these numbers tells to his good work. I would want to state that these numbers tells to his good work in terms of the high level of people he's mentored within the constituents who are able to step into his big shoes. And so it's a lot of commendation for the numbers that have come out. 12 to 14 people that have come out to want to represent in his interest, because this would be an MP that would be working in the very big shoes of Murtala Mohammed. I'm not too sure whether the MP would have a ministerial role or not. I mean, that's to the prerogative of the president to decide that. But at least we'll be stepping in some very good shoes, trying to take care of the constituents, support the constituents financially, bring development to the constituents, work hand in hand with the MCE of the constituency or the district or the municipal, represent the president as well in parliament. And I hope and wish the Tamale Central constituency the best in electing the best candidate to represent my very good friend, Murtala Mohammed.
Well, so what's expected to happen? The major opposition party, that's your party, NPP, has opted out. But there are other political parties. We've not seen any official communication from either of them. And then also there's an avenue for independent candidates to show up and to contest. What's expected to happen after the NDC's primaries? Should a plebiscite, a yes or no, or should we still commit resources into organizing a primary? What's expected to happen?
Well, Nana, I told you that this is clearly going to be a referendum. If the elephant has bowed out, what are the other?
That's a good one.
Yeah, if the elephant has bowed out from an election like that, what are the other political parties? What are the other political parties going to do? I mean, we are the biggest opposition party, and I think that we've set the pace for the other political parties to follow suit. I mean, but it's a democracy. I mean, other people may want to contest independent. No one takes that right away from them. But I mean, if it's going to be an election, it's going to be a referendum, definitely the Electoral Commission must conduct an election. I mean, definitely it's going to be, and that's why I said it's going to be a referendum. And it should be as peaceful, as smooth, as transparent as possible. The internal primaries of the NDC as well should be incident-free, because they need to be able to do all of this in honor of Murtala Mohammed. And I don't think that if anybody wants to contest, it's against their right. But if the elephant has bowed out, what do you want to do there?
So it should be more like a walk in the park for the
yeah.
NDC.
It should be a trophy that should be given to the NDC, which is why I thought that the NDC will reciprocate same action of faith to the new patriotic party in Akwatia. But they said they are coming head on head, bull for bull, elephant for elephant, elephant against umbrella. But I think that the elephant will pull the umbrella down.
You see, people argue with that trap, or that you were setting for the NDC, or you were baiting them to accept your invitation not to contest Akwatia by opting out of Tamale Central.
I think that it would have been very honoring for the chairman, Isiedin Ketia, to say to our General Secretary, Justin Kodia, that I'm very glad that you came to our office. I'm very glad that you are bowed out of Tamale Central. The circumstances surrounding these by-elections are extremely very sad. And I think that as you are giving honor to Murtala Mohammed, we would also like to give honor to Ernest Kumi as well, because he died suddenly. We don't know the cause of death whatsoever, but I mean, he died suddenly, and he's a young person. Man, he's a first-time MP, and so for Chairman Isiedin Ketia being a very astute politician, I think that he should have just said, "We give this to you as well." But they want to contest an election, and we would see the results of the election. But we're still confident that we'll win that election. I don't think it was a bait. I mean, we felt that they will rise up to the occasion to be able to say that they will not contest.
It's an invitation they gladly rejected.
Absolutely. I
because they also fancy their chances in Akwatia.
Absolutely, which is not a problem at all. But like I'm saying, I mean, the final verdict will be when the votes are counted. And Solomon is declared the MP-elect.
Very well. There's a message here from Hamza from Tamale. He says, good morning to you all in the studio, especially Dr. Palgrave. Akwatia is for the NPP and we will win it with a great margin. The NDC propaganda will soon be exposed and Ghanaians will learn better lessons ever trusting them. Let's give time some time. NPP all the way. This is Hamza from Tamale. You can also send in your message. Let us know your thoughts and your contributions. So far, we've looked at the issue of Akwatia by-election as well as the Tamale Central by-election. For Akwatia, there will be a competition between the NDC and the NPP for who becomes MP-elect. Will it be Solomon Esumedu of the NPP or Bernard Bediako of the NDC? But when you go to Tamale Central, it's the NDC against the NDC, if you ask me, because they have 12 persons as it is now, by our last count, 12 persons who have picked forms and are ready to go into the contest for the Tamale Central seat. If it remains same, then there should be a referendum by the EC, and of course we'll know by close of day election, October 30, who the NDC or who the MP elect for Tamale Central will be. Send us your thoughts, your comments, and contributions. There's one here that says, good morning, Channel One, and thanks so much for the good work. May the souls of our departed heroes rest, and most especially the soul of the Honorable Alhaji Murtala Mohammed. My simple, humble question is, did the NDC see the death of the Honorable coming? 12 members struggling to contest this seat is just too much for me as an individual. Hey, God have mercy. Well, as they say, question for the gods. We'll leave it at that. But keep sending your messages in and we'll do our best to read same. Now, Doc, let's come into your camp and look at your preparations for the presidential primaries.